2022. There's none that, no one has signed up to speak, but I will certainly open it up to the audience. Anyone wish to speak before the council? Second time anyone wish to speak before the council? Yes. Please come to the podium. State your name and address for the record, and limit your time to 3 minutes.
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Hi, all of the council. My name is Danilo Mendoza. I live on Central's campus at 1615 Stanley Street, 06050. And I am currently chair of external affairs for our Student Government Association. I'm also here along with Senator Guzman, who is in the audience. And I just wanted to say it is a pleasure to be here, and thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here. So third and final time, anyone wish to speak for the council? Hearing none, public participation is now closed at 7:01. Comments from council? Yes, Alderman Cox.
I just wanted to make a couple of announcements and reminders for everybody watching, everybody in the audience, for the rest of the council. The New Britain Police Department is conducting a prescription drug take-back on Saturday, October 29th, all day. No questions are asked. There's no requirements, but I just want to make sure everybody's aware that this is happening on Saturday. Please spread the word. The Community Service Department is collecting new and gently used hoodies for our community members in need. So we're collecting that now through the end of October, October 31st. There's a box outside of the Community Services room, 301. But I'm happy to pick up sweatshirts if anybody has any that they want to donate. There's a little Monsters Bash being put on by the Parks and Rec Department on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Senior Center, ages 3 to 8 years old. So please, if you have little ones, get them out there. And then we have the Halloween Trick or Treat Safe Zone happening on October 31st. The Downtown District is hosting this event. It's from 5 to 7:30. So we hope to see all the ghosts and goblins come out at that time. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Hopefully it won't rain. Alderman Island.
Well, I'm just wanted to see, I'm glad to see two college students here from Central, if I assume. And please encourage other college students to not only to come to Common Council meetings, get involved, vote. A lot of students perhaps don't vote because they feel they're away from home or whatever. So welcome and bring your peers. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Hearing no one else, the mayor will be here shortly to start the regular meeting. Thank you.
All right. I would like to call to order this regular meeting of the New Britain Common Council, October 26, 2022. The time is 7:09 p.m. Mr. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderpersons Dyson.
Here.
Ayalon.
Here.
Catanzaro.
Here.
Costa.
Here.
Hargraves. Malinowski. Ortiz Luna.
Here.
Pabon. Russell. Rutkowski. Sanchez. Skirpo.
Here.
Segura. Thompson.
Excused.
Smedley.
Excused.
12 is present, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Can we all please rise for the invocation, which will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray, O God, our Heavenly Father. You have helped us fight against evil. You have inspired many to serve and protect us as your guardian angels. New Britain is blessed with a compassionate community who is served by a caring, dedicated police force. We pray for the protection of all police officers to keep us safe, purge hatred from our hearts and souls, bring unity and serenity to our nation so we can live free from harm. We ask this in thy name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Before we start the meeting tonight, we have someone in the audience who's really special to us. Representative Pettit is here, and for a good reason. Well, sad reason for us, good reason for him, I guess. Representative Pettit is going to be retiring from politics this year. For those of you who know Doc, as we so affectionately call him, he's been serving his district in Plainville and New Britain since 2017. Election was in 2016. Since 2017, and I have an official proclamation that I would like to give to you this evening. So come on up so I can read that and embarrass you a little bit for one last time. You're used to that. And then I'll come down and we can do pictures and all that jazz. And so on behalf of the city, from the Office of the Mayor, an official proclamation, whereas the Honorable Dr. William Pettit Jr. is retiring from service as an elected state representative for the 22nd District, serving the community of New Britain. Representative Pettit has served the city as an elected official since the year of 2016. He's dedicated his life to the service of others as a father, husband, medical doctor, community leader, nonprofit founder, and elected official. Whereas Dr. Pettit served the citizens of his district in the state of Connecticut as a ranking member of the Public Health Committee, a member of the Appropriations Committee, a member of the Education Committee, and a member of the Energy and Technology Committee in the Connecticut General Assembly. Dr. Pettit has always committed himself to the New Britain community, serving on numerous boards and commissions, prioritizing the needs of our residents, serving as a very vocal legislative advocate, and being an active, very active participant and supporter of our community events. Whereas the Honorable William A. Pettit Jr. has always been a champion for protecting victims' rights, a steadfast educator on issues surrounding domestic violence, a leading expert on public health, and an honorable public servant. As mayor of the city of New Britain, I ask you all to join me in recognizing the enormous impact that Dr. Pettit has made to the city of New Britain and the state of Connecticut, and join me in congratulating him on his well-deserved retirement from elected public service. In witness thereof, I've set my hand and caused to seal the city of New Britain this 26th day of October 2022. Push together a little gift basket full of all great New Britain goodies that we think that you're going to enjoy. And the gift basket's in the shape of a bee because, well, you know, that's our thing.
I don't have to jump off the bridge, do I? No, very, very much appreciated, Madam Mayor. It's been a fun 6 years. As you were talking, it got me thinking. I've enjoyed my time with many meetings with the meeting with the president at the Central Connecticut. A lot of great changes that have gone on over there. And New Britain just has some great organizations. Your Disabilities Commission does amazing work, you know, year in and year out for people in the community. Prudence Crandall's a leader in the state in terms of domestic violence. So Barbara Damon and the group just do great work, and people look to them. You know, there's 18 catchment areas in the state, and people really look to Prudence Crandall and Interval House up in Hartford as leaders in the field. And you know, the smaller groups, the Pathway Senderos, you know, which helps a lot of kids in a lot of different ways. The Roots program with Joey and setting up the greenhouses. So it's really a thriving, active community with many people working hard to make it a better place for everyone. Obviously, there's a fair amount of headbanging that goes on that all of you are well aware of. But in the end, there's a lot of people doing many good things. I mostly work with the rest of the group here. I've mostly worked with Representative Bobby Sanchez on education. You know, and Bobby's heart's in the right place, and he's worked hard for education and for the folks that provide that education and care. That's been an issue in our state and other states in terms of payment for providers and educators. So I really appreciate this and appreciate the time, and I think at least through my interactions with the Pettit Foundation, we'll continue to interact with a number of these organizations, because a number of them have become near and dear to my heart. Not only over these past 6 years, but over the past 15 years that I think we got involved with Prudence Crandall right away in 2008 when Mrs. Healy was the president, and Mr. Healy reached out and said, "Hey, you know, that's the first I learned of it, even though it had been around since the 70s." So, and we've been off and running for 15 years. So, thank you very much, and thank you all for what you do.
I'll open the floor up to any alderperson who'd like to give any accolades. Alderman Dyson?
Yes, thank you. Dr. Pettit, thank you. You've certainly been a huge help for the city, and I know I'll miss you, but we'll still see each other. We're at lunch together today, and always happy to be in your presence and always learning that what you have to offer. And I, too, want to thank you for everything you've done for our city. So thank you.
Alderman Ayalon.
Hello, I think I had a few chances to see you on the Capitol and talk to you. Very impressed. I think you represented well our part of our town and other places. And you should be proud of yourself. And thank you very much for your service. We need more people like you to do public service and represent the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Alderman Catanzaro.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Pettit, I've probably seen him the most when I worked in Plainville. I drove for Dial a ride at the senior center, and everywhere you turn around, you saw Dr. Pettit, whether it be the senior center or Nazzo's or something, which I go there a lot. I love that store. You know, amongst all the times he's here in all our places here. He definitely, you know, took his job very serious and did so much on top of his own stuff that he does. And we appreciate that. We really do. And I know the people you served really appreciate that. You really helped a lot of people. So thank you for that, and I wish you well, and I'm sure we'll see you down the road. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other alderperson? Dr. Pettit, see you on the golf course. We love you. Thank you for everything. Thank you, sir. All right, move on to the approval of the minutes this evening. Alderman Dyson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept the minutes of the regular meetings of September 28, 2022 and October 12, 2022.
Seconded by Alderman Pabon. Any questions or comments on the minutes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Dyson, are there any amendments to the agenda tonight?
Yes, there is. Thank you, Your Honor. I
Okay.
make a motion to amend the agenda by substituting item number 5.
I have a second by Alderman Russell. Substitute number 5. Any questions or comments on that? Mr. Clerk?
Alderpersons Dyson,
Yes.
Ayalon. Catanzaro.
Yes.
Costa. Hargraves. Malinowski. Ortiz Luna. Pabon. Russell. Witkowski. Sanchez. Skirpo. 12-0, Your Honor.
Motion carries. I see 6 petitions tonight.
That is correct, Your Honor. Number 1 was withdrawn.
Yes.
So we'll start with number 2
Okay.
from Alderman Ayalon. As a follow-up on lien matters, please provide information about the following matters. 1, list the 2021 through 2022 liens and who signed off on those liens. Number 2, for the 2021-22 liens, list the firms or attorneys that were represented the city and how they were chosen. 3, to whom do New Britain residents pay their liens and what percentage do the collecting firms or outside attorneys receive versus the city?
We're going to send that to the Revenue Department.
Okay. Number 3 from Alderman Ayalon. Most other municipalities, including New Britain School Board, provide online public participation. On February 2022, the City Council passed unanimously a resolution to provide remote public participation during Common Council meetings. 8 months later, remote participation is still not available. Please provide a report when remote participation will be fully provided, why such access is not yet available, and what steps are taken to fulfill the Common Council resolution.
Send that to the Support Services Department.
Okay. Number 4 is from Alderwoman Costa for the appropriate departments to remove no parking signs in front of 429 Ellis Street and replace with handicap parking signs.
To the Police Commission, please.
Okay, number 5, Alderwoman Costa for the appropriate departments to install reflective tape or light-up notification at the stop sign at the corner of Glen Street and Buell Street to help limit speeding and traffic accidents in the area.
Public Works Department.
Okay, number 6 from Alderwoman Costa for the appropriate departments to install a handicapped child in the area sign in the vicinity of 35 Norden Street.
Public Works.
Okay, and number 7 from Alderman Ayalon for the appropriate departments to conduct a traffic study on Linden Street to determine if restrictive parking on one side of the street is feasible.
Police Commission.
And that's it, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk. Alderman Dyson will move on to our consent agenda this evening.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept a consent agenda of items A, B, C, D, E, and F.
I have a second by Alderwoman Sanchez. Any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderpersons Dyson.
Yes.
Ayalon. Catanzaro.
Yes.
Costa. Hargraves. Malinowski. Ortiz Luna. Pabon. Russell. Witkowski. Sanchez. Skirpo. I think I got everyone. 12-0, Your Honor.
Yeah, Skirpo. Motion
The last
carries.
3 are going.
We're ending with Skirpo today, just have to remember that. He's the last one. All right, we're gonna move on to the resolutions this evening. Resolution number 1, Alderman Malinowski.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt resolution number 1.
I have a second by Alderman Pabon.
And this is a pretty comprehensive update to our zoning ordinance related to our CBD, our Central Business District. It includes a lot of additions, deletions to permitted uses, parking requirements, and design guidelines. And I believe Jack Benjamin is here if there's any further questions. And I urge adoption.
Thank you very much, Alderman Malinowski. Are there any questions or comments on resolution number 1? Alderman Catanzaro.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to say we had a great meeting yesterday, and he gave us so much information, and I'm much more comfortable now. And I did suggest maybe we change the acronym letters, because I was waiting to hear about something else that never came up.
Oh, no, that's resolution number 2.
You're right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks, Alderman. Alderman Ayalon.
Yes, may I ask for
Sure, Mr.
Mr. Benjamin to come
Benjamin.
in and perhaps explain, not just to us, but for the audience,
Yeah.
what is this about? And I want to say appreciate for your one-page, which we asked for. So really, maybe if you can summarize for us, what is this about? Why did it came and what's the implications?
Certainly. Thank you for the question, Alderman Allen. Good evening, Council. So this Central Business District Code Update Package, which it really is a package, it's a sort of de facto overhaul of our Central Business District zoning code. This was really driven by our Plan of Conservation and Development process, the public process that entailed, and the adoption process last year, which made major recommendations promoting growth in the Central Business District. As we spoke about last night, our original zoning code was overlaid on the city in 1925. That was the first time the CBD zone was established. There was an overhaul in 1967, but there hasn't been anything besides maybe Band-Aids and little changes since then. So this is really modernizing for the modern market, the modern economy, modern building styles, both to promote and also put a little bit more regulations on some of the activities that go on downtown, which you really have the luxury to do these days. 10 years ago, people weren't champing at the bit necessarily for urban land in downtown New Britain, and they really are now. So to give you a little summary over what this entails, so major overhaul to the use variant, or uses, allowable uses, permitted, special exception uses, and then accessory. That includes deletions of certain items that are no longer relevant, insertions of what we believe should be allowable uses in the district, and then amendments to some of the specific uses. Number two, the major thing we did was we revisited the parking requirements. So this was informed by a number of case studies we performed in other cities. It was informed by the public process with POCD, and informed to or reflecting recent variances that were pursued by certain development projects downtown. And the third major thing is the design guidelines. So this is a little bit of a unique part of the code. This isn't really seen in any of the other pieces of the zoning code. It's really based around something called form-based code, which is like next generation zoning. So that moves us beyond just thinking about sort of spatial segregation of uses. It accommodates for more mixed use and puts more design guidelines, including dimensional requirements, around the zoning. Right?
Signage,
Thank you.
very important.
Indeed,
Your Honor, may
signage.
I add? So one aspect that actually I was talking to some colleagues on the Republican side as well is the parking that we understand. I understand the need to reduce reduce parking and encourage more walking and all this. But at the moment, perhaps that maybe we're not ready for that. So what would you answer to those issues with the change of space? It says here, lower the per dwelling unit requirement ratio to one space per 0.75 units. My thinking also is if these buildings are done and people want to move there, if they feel that there are not enough parking, they might not even want to move. You know what I'm saying? That perhaps.
So the three new buildings by Jasco Development all have parking deals with the city for municipal parking spaces. So those are accommodated for. You're right, this does impact projects going forward. Number one, we had a parking study done recently, which shows we do have room to grow in our municipal spaces downtown, including the garages. Will that become an issue in the future? Maybe. I think at the same time, you have to think about a developer making a major investment in downtown New Britain. They're not going to do so if they don't think that they can float this project with the required number of parking spaces. Additionally, we've had variances in the CBD for parking requirements over the last few years. So this is really an indication of the demand and the fact that there are developers moving forward with projects that are not literally one space to one unit.
Okay.
We also, on top of that, we got multiple recommendations from our very recently final drafted parking study, which give us a path forward to potentially acquiring or having agreements with private parking landowners, and potentially having more municipal spaces downtown available in the short term.
So maybe you can explain how these changes you feel will encourage a further development of downtown.
Sure. So, anytime a developer comes into a city, a municipality, they're looking at the zoning code, they're looking at what's allowable. Number one, this is legitimate planning from the literal sense, right? So this is having an eye to the future. This is decreasing the need for variances. Anytime we give a variance for a parking requirement, you're setting a precedent, right? And so part of this has a real legal implication to it also. which is that we don't want to necessarily open up our central business district for variances. We sort of put on our forward-thinking goggles here, and we're trying to look at what might come down the pipe in the future, prevent people from coming for variances in the future. And it's really, informed by recent projects that have come forward too, and the demand that's been expressed by the developers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Benjamin while he's here? Nicely done. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 2. Alderman Malinowski, this is the other CBD that Alderman Catanzaro was thinking of.
I was very specific when I said Central Business District on the last one, Your Honor. Thank you. I would like to make a motion to accept and adopt item number 2.
Seconded by Alderwoman Costa.
And this is about updating our code of ordinances about zoning for adult use cannabis and medical marijuana. And this change adds a lot of things about micro cultivation or cultivation in general. And I urge adoption.
Thank you very much. Alderman Malinowski, are there any questions or comments on this? Mr. Benjamin's the guy to ask about this one too. Mr. Benjamin, if you wouldn't mind, would you mind just giving us a summary of what it says? I think that this would be important for.
Yeah, this is the cannabinoid CBD. Okay, so brief summary on this. So this is doing a couple things to the ordinance that was passed by you folks earlier this year. Number one, this is correcting an item we found. So initially when going through the code, we were taking all the different license types that were individually named throughout the code and just replicating them. One of them dimensionally didn't fit, so we had micro-cultivator lumped in with minimum square footage requirements for buildings at 25,000 plus, along with cultivation, and micro-cultivation goes up to only 15,000. So that's a correction there. And then additionally, we're allowing for, in the B2 zone, for parcels greater than 15 acres, which are only 2 in the city, Costco and the Webster Resource Center property on Slater Road, to allow cultivation, and that's due to demand. Right.
Any questions, Mr. Benjamin, while he's up here? Thank you, sir.
All right.
Any questions in general? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Dyson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 3.
Seconded by Alderman Hargraves.
This is to accept the appointment of Daniel Salerno to the Mattabesset District for a term of 11/1/22 to 10/30/2025. Mattabesset District works a little different than our elections. I know he's done a great service for the city of New Britain, yeoman's work, and certainly looking out for our best interests, and I urge adoption.
Thank you very much, Alderman Dyson. Are there any questions or comments on resolution number 3? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Dyson.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 4.
Seconded by Alderwoman Sanchez.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is, if I read it for the record, budget transfer and amendment in the general fund, revenue expenditure encumbrance and accrual activities for fiscal year 2021 through 2022 have concluded. The city performed better than expected, leaving a $5,896,418 positive result of budgetary operations. The city has multiple accounts these results need to be transferred to in order to provide funding for the below items to help the current fiscal year budget fix deficits. $3,046,418 million be transferred into the city's medical self-insurance fund to pay off claims. $2 million be transferred in the account to fund multiple road paving projects that were over budget. $750,000 be transferred into the account designated for to fund the replacement of City Hall's roof and window replacement. And $100,000 be transferred into an account designated for FY23 Celebrate New Britain event. Line item budget transfer is proposed to adjust both revenue and expenditure budgets as per city ordinances. And I know our finance director, Mr. Perugini, is here. I certainly would like to have a question for him. So.
Come on up.
Thank you. Through your honor, I just, for the record, people are gonna say, how did we get this great windfall? So if you can maybe just describe or explain how we got it?
Sure. I'll just give two big points. One on the revenue side, the big one was the real estate market. It shot through the roof, and you'll see that with town clerk conveyance taxes. So there were lots of properties being sold at above asking price, and so that was one of the bigger keynotes on the revenue side. And on the expense side, expenses were lower because of vacancies. It takes time when people leave to hire a replacement, and it's usually at a lower cost. So those are the two, and that was citywide, not just one department.
Any questions, other questions for Mr. Perugini? Alderman Island.
Hello.
Can you, and I see the majority, the $3 million transfer to medical self-insurance fund. And I know this often is underfunded, so can you tell us what's the situation with that fund today for the medical self-insurance?
Well, the main part on it is usually it runs around 9 to 10. We pay the actual claims, and so it's all based on actual claims that come in each year, and it's variable. So the additional $3 million will help fund it, so that it's at a good figure.
And the total, how much do we have there in that fund currently?
I don't have that at the moment, but I was just looking at the current year. We put $6 million in, and the expenses came to 9 to 10 range. So this $3 million helps to break even in the current year. So that was the whole intention behind this.
I wonder also if during the pandemic we had more or less
We had less claims during the pandemic. People
lot
didn't
less.
want to go to it. It dropped significantly, but then the moment it ended, everyone went back to the doctors. So that's why
Wow.
that's why we're asking for this $3 million to be moved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Jonathan? All right, thank you very much. sir.
Thank you.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 5, Alderman Hargraves.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to make a motion to accept and adopt resolution number 5.
Seconded by Alderwoman Costa.
So resolution 5 is a bid number 4109 for replacing the courts at Willow Street Park for an amount of $338,000. The bid should be awarded to BMP Construction Incorporated of Danbury, Connecticut. Fun story, because I remember when this park first opened back in 2008, October of 2008 actually. And I was thinking, I was like, it's already time to replace those courts? I'm like, wow, that's 14 years ago. How time flies. I'm aging myself here now. And I remember the first day those courts opened, and as soon as the construction workers put the rims, because I was working Parks and Rec at the time, so I was there. And as soon as the construction workers put the rims on the court, I seen people walking down the street with a basketball, and they immediately started playing basketball. So I was like, this was needed here in this neighborhood. So I'm glad that the courts are there now, and I'm glad that we're upgrading them, and I urge adoption.
Thank you very much, Alderman. Any other questions or comments on this? Alderwoman Costa.
I just have one question, and I don't know if Mr. Barbieri can answer the question. I was just curious about the timeline. My typical timeline question, sorry.
So the big variable there is if we can get them done before the snow flies. We are doing concrete, not asphalt. Asphalt is what we have there now, and that's why it failed. The concrete should last upwards of 30 years, like the tennis courts we did at Walnut Hill.
Okay.
So if we can get it done, it's a question of if it passes tonight, meeting with the contractor and finding out when we're gonna get on their schedule. And if we can do it before the snow flies, we will. If not, we'll play it safe and do it in the spring.
Okay.
Once we get going, it'll probably be about a month. The fencing is also involved, the new goals and all that kind of stuff, but so about 4 weeks.
Is the construction material like what we have at like AW, Chesley? Do we know that? Do we have that information?
So-
Is it going to be similar to like that construction?
It's similar. The only poured
concrete that we have is at the tennis courts at Walnut Hill.
Okay.
Everything else is asphalt, and the way to go nowadays for longevity purposes is concrete. It costs a little bit more upfront,
Yeah.
but you're not replacing them after 10 years. And right now, after talking to several contractors, the asphalt that they're making now, one contractor said he wouldn't guarantee it for 5 years as asphalt.
Fair enough.
So, you know, the concrete is kind of the way to go,
Yeah.
and so we're excited to be able to have the funding to do that piece.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you.
Alderman Island.
Yes, I can add that at Central, they have asphalt sidewalks, and they're splitting every year, you know, after the end of the winter. Not a good idea. I had one more question about, are there going to be any changes other than any bleachers or
Nope,
anything?
everything else is in pretty good shape. Yep, it's truly the basketball courts proper and the goals and the fencing that surrounds them. Because the fence is gonna get damaged when we start pouring the concrete. It's asphalt now, so there's gonna be some changes there, so we're gonna replace the fencing while we're in there. But it'll just be that area of the
Okay,
park.
another question, I noticed that there was only one bidder. Is that a typical that you send it to so many companies and only one bidder?
It's a very busy construction season right now. Contractors are running around like crazy. We had probably 3 or 4 at the walkthrough, when we had the walkthrough ahead of the contract, and one of them only bid for whatever reason. But we did check it. It's a very competitive number, even though they were only one, and we checked the references, and they all came back outstanding, so I think it'll be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Alderman Catanzaro.
Thank you, Your Honor. Hey, Eric.
Hi.
Are there any other plans to do any other upgrades to the other parts of the park?
Of Willow Street?
Yes.
I know the cameras are gonna be redone. That's gonna be a major part. We're trying to do a little bit more with the grass field that's there, so that's a little bit more usable.
Okay, let me just stop you there. That's never been really usable, in my opinion. I've been there, even when I worked there.
Yeah.
It's too small for a soccer field, and I would like to see you move that playscape and make it a nice playscape like we have at Stanley Quarter and other parks where that whole grass area is. It's not in the back where parents have a hard time. If they have 2 kids, one in the splash pad and one in there, it's a little difficult. So just something to think about.
Yeah, it was used this summer as part of the WISE program, their outdoor camp program. And it's also, one of the reasons we put it in
Sponsored by
there
the
is-
Mayor's Trophy Charitable Fund.
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
Yes, it was. Thank you for golfing. But I also, you know, Alderman, part of the concept and the thought process there was there's a lot of concrete and asphalt in that park. So we wanted to have some natural grass and some area for locals to play. It was never meant to be a full-size soccer field. That's not the design. It was more of a, even if it's just kickball or play area for people to be able to go to, or fly a kite or anything else, you know, in a soft area besides that. But duly noted.
Any other questions, Alderman Island?
Just reminded, because I take sometime my grandchildren come and they take them, in the slide, you know, there is a slide there, and it's a slide, it's a rail that you
hold on to.
you hold on,
you zip-
and the
it's a zip
rail is,
line, yeah.
it has been problematic for the last few years because it's corroded, and
Okay.
as opposed to say the one on Stanley Quarter Park, you know, when you have
Yeah.
children or grandchildren, you pretty much know all the, so I think something needs to be done about that.
And it's an older playground. Those are newer, the ones you're talking about, so there
Yeah.
will be maintenance that is involved with them for sure. Yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions, comments?
more.
Alderwoman Costa.
I'm just excited about this.
Okay.
So thank you. I
Yeah, me
forgot to
too.
mention it. I'm very
Me too.
excited.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear.
I've spent a lot of time at Willow Street Park in the last few months, and I know how used it is by the children. It's, you know, it's
Heavily
a densely
used,
populated neighborhood. The basketball courts are used a lot by, you know, the children in the neighborhood, and so I'm really looking forward to the upgrade for them.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Barbieri. Alderwoman Ortiz Luna, resolution number 6 tonight.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion, I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 6.
Seconded by Alderman Russell.
This resolution is regarding tax abatements, corrections, and refunds to allow the tax collector to distribute accordingly, and I urge adoption.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman Sanchez, resolution number 7. Do I have to turn somebody off? Can somebody turn one of them off so she can turn hers on? All right. It should go now. Try now. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Where is it? I make a motion to accept and adopt item number 7.
I have a second by Alderwoman Costa.
This resolution permits the Commission of Human Rights and Opportunities to solicit and receive contributions to sponsor the Monday, January 16, 2023 yearly ceremony in commemoration of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. holiday observance. Whereas each year the City of New Bern commemorates the life and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by hosting a ceremony reflecting on his accomplishment and acknowledging the impact that he had on American history. And whereas the vision of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was one of peace, opportunity, and harmony. His message of nonviolence, optimism, and service continues to echo today as we strive to reflect our highest ideas of fairness and equality and opportunity. And whereas Dr. King's legacy remains a message of enduring truth, remembering that we must continue to embrace the history, culture, religion, and ability of all people as an essential part of our American identity. And whereas we gather on Monday, January 16, 2023 to commemorate the life and legacy of this extraordinary man, let us remember his words that call us to action in the fight against racism, injustice, and inequality. Now therefore be it resolved that the Common Council of the City of New Bern hereby authorize Mayor Erin Stewart through the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities to solicit the necessary financial support to defray expenses associated with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. commemoration, and to be placed in a designated revenue and expenditure account established by the Finance Department under the administrative power of the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunity as outlined below. And I urge adoption.
Thank you very much, Alderwoman. Are there any questions or comments on this? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Hargraves, resolution number 8.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept and adopt resolution number 8.
Seconded by Alderwoman Ortiz Luna.
This is for it's a public bid for Turf Products Corporation in the amount of $67,398.44 for a Toro Multi-Pro 5800G and a Toro Pro Force debris blower for $9,826.56 for the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Department. It will replace an existing 2006 machine with a lot of hours and miles on it, over 321,000 miles. And there's money available in the Stanley Golf Course account. I urge adoption.
Thank you very much, Alderman Hargraves. Are there any questions or comments on this item? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderwoman Costa, resolution number 9.
Thank you, Your Honor. I make a motion to accept item number 9 and refer to the Committee on Planning, Zoning, and Housing.
Seconded by Alderwoman Sanchez.
So we'll take this business up in Planning, Zoning, and Housing, but this is to amend the Code of Ordinances to move the Art Commission from Section 2584 to Section 2331, and to modify the Art Commission's duties and to amend Section 1920 to remove duties from the City Plan Commission, and I urge referral.
Thank you very much, Alderwoman. Any questions or comments on the referral? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Alderman Catanzaro.
Thank you, Your Honor. Make a motion to accept and adopt resolution number 10.
Second.
This resolution
Seconded
is,
by Alderman Dyson. Go ahead.
this resolution is to replace 2 of our New Brittany EMS ambulances. New Brittany EMS was started in 1977. The 2 ambulances we are purchasing our AEV Type 2 Trauma Hawk 2023 all-wheel drive high roof Ford Transit vans for $161,466 for a total cost of $322,932. And this was voted on in May 26, 2021 by this council. We are replacing the old so-called box ambulances. These are gonna be vans, which is less expensive, they ride better. I think they're gonna last us a little longer than we had with the boxes. As somebody that used to work at EMS, I'm well aware of how lousy they ride. So I urge adoption. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman Catanzaro. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, Alderman Hargrave, sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right, so I'm just a bit confused because it said this was a public bid, but I don't see a bid list or who it was sent to or who replied to the bid, and so I don't know if that would be a question.
Oh, hold on, wait, let me, go ahead.
Alderman, there are 3 bidders. I could get you the list. Obviously, the first one for the winner is the one that you saw. And again, I'll forward this to the entire council. The second bidder was Demers Ambulance, but they didn't include in their price the cost of outfitting. They just included like the basics. And then the third bidder was Osage Ambulance, and they came in significantly higher and also did not include the outfitting. So the price that we went with included everything. So.
Thank you. Any other questions? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Point of personal privilege, Alderwoman Costa this evening.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to share that I was able to, along with Alderman Eilon, participate in the Connecticut Forest Forum today. And it was a really a unique experience. I've never participated in an event like this. It's an annual meeting, and this was the first time everybody was back together after a couple of years. They talked a lot about growing grassroots in Connecticut's forests. The agenda was really well organized. We had keynote speaker Katie Dykes, who complimented New Britain and our mayor multiple times during her speech about
And be flush.
And be flush.
Say it loud. Say it proud.
She also inspired a lot of really great ideas for how we can get creative in planting trees in our city, and that it doesn't just have to be, open green spaces, that we can use a lot of different ideas and collaborate with, other cities and towns like ours where, so much of the space is just limited, and how we can be more tree friendly. We have a lot of tree huggers here. We talked about developing urban forestry workforce training programs, and this was particularly inspiring. So Hartford, Bridgeport, and New Haven each have unique programs where they tap into education. They tap into their schools with professionals who do this work. And, basically these students are apprentices. They are connected to the colleges. So Yale was one of the colleges that they worked with. And they, combined this really diverse group of workers to, teach this skill, basically environmental engineering, in short. And so it was thoughtful and created a lot of ideas bubbling over. So I'll be reaching out to Mark Moriarty. He's probably not happy about that. We also talked about managing forests in the face of climate change. So there was a lot of climate change discussion. It was really thoughtful. It was really helpful to understand. There were a number of vendors who were there that taught us about a lot of forest practices and really care for trees, the importance of forestry. It was a great opportunity. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to go, to learn. Hopefully other members of this City Hall, I'm thinking Mark Moriarty's department, can attend with us next year. It was just a really valuable experience, and thank you very much. It was really great. Thank you. Alderman Eilon, I don't know if you want to add.
Yeah, Alderman Eilon.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with Alderwoman Costa. It was a great event, and the first time I ever participated. I think that one section of this presentations, this conference, we had several examples of different projects from different towns in Connecticut. And it was great to hear about grassroots, about organizations, residents getting together with the city and creating voluntary workforce to work with the local businesses to plant trees, and they had competitions, and they had T-shirts, and they had all sorts of, and so there was also an educational part to that with kids and adults. So I'd love to see something here, and also I think we have something like that, kind of to provide opportunity for residents to celebrate legacy, to donate trees for their loved ones that passed away and others. I think we have something, but it has to be, advertised and perhaps, I think it was inspiring to see what others are doing, and I'll be glad to work with Alderwoman Costa and others, and Public Works and others, to my life commitment for trees. So I'm really glad. Thank you.
And thank the both of you for going. That's
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Just one more thing. It's a testament to your commitment to the environment. I know this gets questioned a lot, but that we were able to participate in a program like this speaks volumes to our commitment to long-term environment solutions. This is a great opportunity. This is an excellent start. Education is where we begin, but it's certainly a testament to your commitment and your leadership. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Alderwoman. And I know last meeting I talked about the thing that I wasn't supposed to mention, and I'm still really not supposed to mention it yet, but that climate leader designation that I'm not supposed to mention, that I'm not really sure if we were only one of 5 in the state to get it. I don't know. I need like 7 more days before I officially announce it. But we're really proud of that. Well, we will be when we find out if we got it or not. Alderman Catanzaro.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm very glad the other members got to go. As a 25-year member of the Park Department, I was on the tree crew for several years, just to educate a few. This is nothing new to us. We have a city arborist. We've always had a city arborist. And as my dear colleague will probably say, everybody thinks as these tree companies, all they want to do is cut down trees. And it's not the case. When they have to, they will, only when it's dead or it has a disease. We need the trees to breathe. And I learned that from our old city arborists. And we always had a program of replanting trees. Not one for one, because they're not cheap. So whenever we could add money into the budget, we did. So yes, we can always do more, but this has been going on for a long, long time. As far as the forest care, the Park Department and the Water Department does that. Every so many years, they bring in a company to get rid of all the dead wood so the new growth can grow. So, sure, we can always do better in some new techniques, but, this is something we've been doing for a long time, and we're very proud of it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Oh, and one more point of personal privilege, if I may.
Sure.
We're honored today by one of my colleagues.
Oh, I was gonna, yeah, go.
And let's all offer Alderman Chris Rutkowski a very, very happy birthday today.
I'm not
I
singing.
know he's only 39, but it's okay.
25?
25 times 2, Your Honor. Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Happy birthday.
As the balloon says.
Princess. Yes. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Your Honor.
Made by Alderman Rutkowski, seconded by Alderman Malinowski. All those in favor, say aye. We are adjourned. The time is 7:58 p.m. Have a wonderful night, everyone.